right, this is the Dr. Z Maz 18 here, non-reverb version. I think this amp is the most versatile amp I've ever played. I play anything from country to rock to blues to metal. Now this amp won't play metal, but it'll do everything else, and it'll do it really, really well. And with its own voice too, which is kind of unique. So it's an EL84 amp, 18 watts. The first question some people will have is it going to be loud enough? And I could say without a doubt it is loud enough. And when I first brought this amp home, it has a really striking quality to the sound. It's as if every other amp I've played before has had a blanket over it, and this amp is wide open, raw. You hear the detail of every little wave of sound that comes through. It's pretty remarkable, and I think that's the reason why it's loud enough, because I could sit and play in front of this amp and it'll make your ears ring for sure if you got it turned up. But when you play it in a band setting, I was so surprised at how low I brought the volume up when I turned it up to the level that got over the drums and the bass and the other guitar player. It was lower than I would have ever expected to have turned this up. Like when I play at that level in the bedroom, it's almost too quiet. Like I want it louder, so it's pretty weird. And I think that has to do with that quality of the sound, that super direct, almost strident sound. The way I have it, the knob set, I'll put a picture up here, but I like to run my bass low, and I think this is when I go out and I see live music, I think they take their bedroom sound that they think sounds good to them, and then they put it in a band setting, and it never sounds good. You can never hear them, and also you can never hear anybody else because they just wall over the entire low end and it ruins the entire mix. Then they end up turning their volume up and it just becomes a huge mess. Now, this amp already, if you just set the knobs at 12 o'clock all the way through, it sounds great. I just like to roll the bass back a little bit, and I think it sounds even cleaner. Now, I run into the low input when I'm running pedals. So if I'm playing with pedals, I put it in the low input. I keep the sound pretty clean, but there's a unique quality to the clean sound as well, where even when it's clean, it almost sounds like it has a little bit of hair on it, even if it's pretty sparkly. It's got this compression and this kind of harmonic richness, like it would have if you had a distortion overdrive pedal on it or something, even though it's clean. I have a magnetone over here, and it's a similar wattage, and that amp sounds like a 15, 20 watt amp, whatever it is. It sounds like that. This amp does not sound like it's 18 watts. It sounds like a big amp, but it's nice because you can get that power amp tube saturation at a reasonable volume, pretty much the perfect volume, honestly. So my neighbors, they hear it, but I'm not getting the cops called, if that makes any sense. So let me run through a few little sound clips here. Like I said, I got the sound set up pretty clean. I'm going to take all my pedals off here, and this is just bridge pickup on my Nash T63 Tele. There's Lawler Tele pickups in here. I love them. And kind of a dead set of strings. All right, clean sound. Middle pickup. And neck. All right, so normally if I'm running a clean sound, I got a little something on top. So here's a little golden reverb, Universal Audio golden reverb I got on the plate setting. Bridge pickup, I mean, it sounds crystal clean, but it kind of has that sustain, which is really nice. I think a lot of that has to do with the guitar, but any other guitar I've plugged into it does the same thing. So let's put a little bit of light speed overdrive on that sound. I just got it, really lightly breaking up here. It adds a little hair. So. The crazy thing about this amp, you'll hear as I run through some other pedals, no matter what pedal I put in front of it, it doesn't sound like a pedal at all. The pedal sound and the amp sound are like running parallel and you could hear them both at the same time. Typically, this amp, they meld together as one and you don't hear that clean signal. It's way awesome the way it comes through. Here's a little bit of the, like the Noble's ODR1 sound out of the Brown Protein. I'm gonna take that reverb off too and just. Yeah, so killer sound, Noble sound too. And the way I've got these set, it's pretty low overdrive. Like I'm hitting it hard, but if I were to just do like a regular strum, you'll hear it's not a whole lot of overdrive. But you don't need a lot of overdrive with this amp. It's got that quality. Like I said, it's something magical where it just kind of fills up the space with harmonic richness and complexity. And a little bit of lead sounds here. Let's put a little slap back delay on there. Still on the bridge pickup. I'm going to take the Noble's Brown Protein off and just do clean with a little bit of slap on there. Let's do middle pickup position. Pretty sweet. All right, a little bit of neck pickup, and I'm gonna put some reverb on instead. So just clean, no pedals except for a little bit of. There's that plate reverb from the Golden. All right, you get the point. A little bit of the light speed with the neck pickup sounds killer too. A A little bit of fuzz. This is a fuzz, like a StuMac kit that I made. I think it's modeled after an Analog Man fuzz face type thing. Let's take off the reverb here. Hard to beat that. Let's put a little bit of Nobles on top, maybe a little slap. This thing can also do rock tones as well. I mean, you know, like I said before, that's not a lot of overdrive too. I've got the drive knob set at just about 930 on the brown protein, the green side. It's not a ton. Yeah, I recommend if you haven't played one of these, you should give it a shot. Your mind's going to be blown for an 18-watt amp. I actually think now, I mean, there's nothing that this amp really can't do except for heavy metal tones and stuff. But there's no amp out there that can do heavy metal tones and all the classic tones. I mean, you get it to do, you know, everything kind of mediocre, or you get it to do something really well. But as far as versatility, this amp can do a ton, and I haven't even changed the settings. I mean, I've thrown on a couple pedals, but you start messing with the settings and it changes drastically. Let me turn up the input volume on here, get some more gain just coming out of the amp. I'm gonna leave all the pedals off just to show you what kind of possibilities there are. And I'm gonna change it to the high input setting as well, so you get an idea of that. Okay, now I'm in the high input setting, and I left the input volume, the gain, just over 9 o'clock. So it's the same as it was before, but just with the input switch. So here's no pedals on. Okay, let me turn it to halfway up, 12 o'clock. This is about as much as I would ever use on this amp, really. You don't really need to go above this, but... Take it up to 3 o'clock. The other thing is, this amp is freaking silent. I mean, I have the gain turned up right now, but if I were to take all these pedals out of the loop, let's say I were to just unplug it, there's no noise. That's with the clean sound. There's no noise. It's a well-made. The Magnatone is pretty similar in price. I'm gonna do a comparison between the two. I like the way the Magnatone sounds too, but you could just tell the build quality of this and the way that the amp was designed. It's light years ahead of that. It's light years ahead of anything I've also tried. All right, gain at 3 o'clock here. So that's gonna do it. Like I said, give this amp a shot. I think you're gonna like it. All right, have a good day, everybody.